Hello, everyone. Good evening and good morning or good afternoon, whatever your time zone fits. Thank you very much joining me and everyone else. This is a series of talks to remember that all of us who have some interest in Dharma and Buddhism, we need to remember, in spite of various ethnic, cultural, language, or traditional differences, they all are brought together by the amazing qualities of Triple Gem. Hence, I'm focusing on the qualities of the Triple Gem. And so as we begin, usually with the refuge prayers, tonight I'm going to chant these traditional 9 qualities of the Buddha that the Theravada tradition chants, and I'll do that because that is also the topic of the talk. Because we're going to focus on the qualities of the Buddha gem tonight. Last week we talked about the meaning of the Ratna, the precious. Why the triple gem is named after gem. We drew 6 factors based on Uttara-tantra. So I'll first chant the whole very homage to the 9, reflecting on the 9 qualities of Buddha in Pali and then in Tibetan. You wouldn't believe that both Pali and Tibetan, they do the same thing in different languages, but people think they are chanting something different. That's actually not true. So I'm going to chant once in Tibetan, once in Pali, once in Tibetan, and once in English, so that everybody get the understanding. So if you have other prayers like refuge or something, you may do that instead. But I'll do this instead before the teaching. Yoso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicca charana sampanna sugata sarati sattha deva buddha The Blessed One is such as is, you are accomplished, fully enlightened, endowed, clear vision, and virtuous conduct, sublime, the incomparable leader of humans to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened and Blessed One. So this particular prayer reflect on the 9 epithets of the Buddha, which means specifically focusing on the 9 qualities of the Buddha. This quality does not distinguish between qualities of the body, speech, mind, activities, and qualities as we usually do. We will be able to go over those too later on. But tonight we're going to focus on these very 9 key epithets. It is said that thinking of the Buddha, or remembering the Buddha, those who know the qualities of the Buddha, either each of the 9 or only one of them, if you ever bring your attention to a being who has these qualities, you wouldn't believe that you have the good fortune to know that there exists such a being, such a being. And so when Buddha passed away, disciples were asked to actually do the recollecting that triple gem. So Buddha Anusmriti, which means recollecting the Buddha, recollecting Buddha's qualities. Because even though Buddha physically did not live after he passed away into Mahaparinirvana, but his qualities have the same effect to those who actually have met him. And in order for people to clearly recollect the Buddha, and then they have these 9 epithets of the Buddha's qualities were given to remember. And same goes with the Dharma Anusmriti, which means the recollecting the qualities of the Dharma, and recollecting the quality of the Sangha. I mean, all Buddhists are so devoted in their own way that the only reason they have refuge and only reason they have followed the teachings of the Buddha, whether it's Zen in Japan or Korea, or in Vietnam or China, or Vajrayana Buddhism in Tibet or Himalayan countries or Mongolia, or Theravadan countries in the various parts of the world. They all are basically drawn and motivated and inspired by the same enlightened one. When people forget that they are actually not following any different things, they are following the very same Buddha. It's very important that we do not get segregated or we do not become separated by thinking that we are different Buddhists. Our culture, our language, our kind of way of doing things may differ because they have been culturally looks different. But deep down, we all join our hands by reflecting on the qualities of the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha. So definitely in this 21st century, it is well overdue for us to know that we are taking refuge in the same and one and only Buddha. Whether there are many different Buddhas or not on top of the historical Buddha, they've got to remember that Buddha is the enlightened one's qualities. So that's why here these 9 epithets, what I went through in Pali and Tibetan, because Tibetans, when they chant what I did, nobody knows they're chanting that one, and they do in Pali. When the Theravadins chant this in Pali, Tibetans don't think they are chanting this, that they chant this in Tibetan, and vice versa. Incredible sort of barrier when they don't know what others chanting is exactly they are chanting in their own language. Why? They are all paying homage to the Buddha. And so we, English-speaking people, should also do the same. I'm not saying you should only chant in English just yet. Maybe you should learn to chant in the language in which that your teacher and their tradition teaches you. And once your language, like in English, has become very standardized, you could read out the English version. And maybe you could do bilingually. A lot of Buddhist centers do bilingual chanting on these things. So tonight we're going to look at this meaning of these 9 epithets. Usually they also chant Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So that is actually a short version of homage to the Buddha. Whereas one we chanted before, they list all the 9 epithets, and the Tibetan version does the same. And they all talk about these 9 epithets. And so let me go over each of them one by one. Firstly, when it says the Yoso Bhagava Arahang, Bhagava Arahang refers to the accomplished one. Accomplished one. So the accomplished one refers to only the arhat one. Arhat. There are many arhats. Small arhat, medium arhat, and big arhat. This is referred to the big arhat, one who is accomplished. Who is accomplished arhat. The others are small accomplished arhat, or medium, or the great. So this refers to the great, the worthy one, or the worthy arhat is the saint. Arahant refers to the one who has overcome, or one who has defeated the enemy, one who has reached the highest level of having no inner enemy. And that's namely the fourth stage of arhathood. The arhathood, some are stream enterer, and so on. So the highest level of arhathood is the fourth stage of arhathood, where one has reached the highest level. And this indicates the Buddha is the great arhat, one who's fully accomplished. In principle, of course, anyone who has reached complete liberation can reach that sooner or later. Yeah, but Buddha is the first one to reach that level in his time, and he is not only the first one, but he's reached the highest one, and therefore he is the most most highly revered teacher, because there is no other arhat before him. Arhat before him. So when we refer to the arhat, and usually it talks about five particular qualities. One is called one who stands away or completely free from klesha. So he's completely accomplished because he accomplished to defeat or overcome all the afflictions. And when he has overcome all the afflictions, so that's the one who has overcome afflictions, and then he has therefore destroyed all enemies. Second one is he has developed or overcome all the enemies. Ari means enemy, really, who's destroyed all the enemies. We can say the enemies are four maras, we have skanda mara. We are often succumb to our aggregates. Buddha is the one who's completely accomplished, who have completely overcome, and the aggregate. So aggregate does not impede him, nor does he. And then I mentioned he has also overcome the second the enemy, that is the klesha. Yeah. So there's the skanda, klesha, and then fear of death. Because the fear of death only exists those who are born. Buddha will never be born again by the force of karma. So therefore he has no fear of death, and also he has overcome Devaputra Mara. So all the four maras he has destroyed, defeated all the four maras, and he will never. He's never subjected to any of the defilements. Therefore, he is the arhat. And because he has defeated the four maras, and he is free from affliction, therefore he has destroyed the spokes. The ara means the spokes. What is the spokes? Spokes of will of life. So he has completely broken the wheel of life, the spokes of wheel of life. So he's now subject to rebirth. How do we know that he has defeated or overcome the affliction and aggregates? Because he will never will be subject to be reborn in aggregate. So that's And therefore, he's worthy. Fourth one is worthy of receiving gifts. So whatever you give gifts or offer, whether physical bow down or whether it's food, flower offerings or whatever you do, everyone who gives something to the Buddha, they will receive merit. They will receive blessings. You give to others who don't have these qualities, they won't necessarily receive benefit as much as offering to the gifts to the Buddha. So the Buddha is worthy to receive gifts, worthy of receiving gifts. And there is, and fifth one is there is no harm. There's never any concept, side effect, or harm that comes in through the Buddha or by the Buddha or to do with the Buddha at all. One who has accomplished. So that's what these five are explained in Theravada Vishuddhimagga. That these are the five factors that actually defines what is the Arahant. Yeah, when we say Arahant. In the similar commentary in Tibetan, they talk about the Arahant is the one who has not only defeated one's own enemies, but one also has defeated enemies so much so that one can benefit other people's enemies. Yeah, one can help. The Buddha can. Those who have refuge in the Triple Gem, they will, by the power of having refuge in the Buddha, they also will be able to defeat their enemies. So that's why he's accomplished in the sense, his accomplishment is not just his own. His accomplishment has positive consequences, enabling others to accomplish. So that's the meaning of the Arahant. And then second one is the Samma Sambuddho. Samma Sambuddha meaning fully enlightened one. Fully enlightened one. Fully enlightened one, Samyak Sambuddha in Sanskrit, Buddha is fully awakened because he understands all the Four Noble Truths, He knows all the Four Noble Truths. He fully and correctly understands what is to be understood, that is the suffering. He knows the suffering. He knows the cause of the suffering. He knows the lack of inherent existence of suffering. He knows the dependent nature of the suffering. Even though the sufferings are unsatisfactory, they are dependently endable. So therefore, he's able to know the noble truth of suffering to the extent of eradicating that noble truth of suffering, and he can achieve what had to be achieved, that is the cessation of suffering. So he's perfectly enlightened in not only the knowing the suffering, but also to achieve the ending of it, the end of unsatisfactoriness. And then he can develop what had to be developed. That is the path that leads to the cessation. He can actually develop the path. He actually developed the path not only, as I mentioned before, not only for his own attainment of enlightenment, but his development of realization also enables others to know how to put an end to the cycle of misery. And therefore, he has discovered the Dharma. So Dharma is rarer than the Buddha. Because if you don't have Buddha, Dharma, there is no Dharma. It's only a Buddha realizes the Dharma. So he's a perfectly enlightened one insofar as bringing the prescription of Dharma to other sentient beings. The truth, the actual truth of the Dharma is revealed and taught, realized by the Buddha alone. So therefore, the Buddha is the perfectly enlightened one, because the Dharma that we have did not come from anywhere but through the enlightened realization of the Buddha. So the Samyak Sambuddha is the realization of Buddha. There's the realization of the Dharma is only the intellectual, if you can, I can use it, intellectual domain of the Buddha. Only the Buddha knows the Dharma, the universal law, without a teacher, without a written script for him, without someone telling, do this, you will get there. No, there's only only Buddha realizes that through his purity, through his meditation, through his wisdom. So this is through his shila, through his samadhi, and through his prajna. Only through that did he attain enlightenment. So that's why the Dharma, Samyak Sambuddha, Buddha is the one who's perfectly realized the law. Therefore, the Buddha is distinguishable from anyone who understands the same truth, because every one of us, even Nagarjuna, even the great Buddha Gosha or the Asanga or many great masters who we celebrate, they only realize their effort after following the good, noble role model example of the Buddha. Only by being able to admit themselves, enter themselves into Buddha Sasana, because the Buddha Sasana only came from Buddha's enlightenment of the perfect enlightened one. When there is no perfect enlightened one, there is no Buddha Sasana. Buddha Sasana means teachings of the Buddha. Others, like us, we are more lucky to attain enlightenment because we already can follow the recipe. The Buddha has already realized it. That's why any small margin of progress you make, you will see it is attributed to the Buddha's perfect enlightenment. Therefore, it is everyone needs to practice on the basis of the teaching that truly adheres to the teachings of the Buddha. When it refers to the word Samyak Sambuddha, because we are talking about Prateka Buddhas, Sravaka Buddha, Sravaka Arhat, and Prateka Buddha Arhat, as well as 10 Bhumi dwelling Bodhisattvas. All of these three, Sravaka Arhat, Prateka Buddha Arhat, and Bodhisattvas. All of these, but Samyak Sambuddha surpasses all of these three. It's perfectly enlightened, suggesting that other three, Prateka Buddha and Sravaka Arhat and Bodhisattvas are yet to take still few steps to reach the perfectly enlightened one. So that's why when we say Samyak, the Samyak has a meaning of is a special prefix, which means that both wisdom, the perfection of the wisdom, completion of the wisdom is the Samyak Sambuddha. So there is no, it's unsurpassable. It's unsurpassable. The Buddha's enlightenment is unsurpassable by anybody. Whereas the Shravakas or Prateka Buddhas or Bodhisattvas are surpassable. Like Shravakas is surpassable by Prateka Buddhas, Arhat, the Bodhisattvas can surpass both Prateka Buddhas and Shravakas, and Buddha surpasses all three, and no one can surpass the Samyak Sambuddha. That's why it's called Samyak Sambuddha. Samyak Sambuddha. So that's the second epithet. The third one is Vijja Charana Sampanno. Vijja Charana Sampanno means the one who's endowed with clear vision. Clear vision and virtuous conducts. So here Vijja Charana. Vijja means higher knowledge. So this is wisdom. This is the wisdom, right view. Charana means good conduct. So in Tibetan, the Vijja Charana refers to the one who has a feet, because feet is regarded as the morality, the shila, and wisdom is regarded as the knowledge. So that's why the Vijja Charana means the knowledge with virtuous conduct. Virtuous conduct is the leg, and the vision is the eye. So this is the analogy they use. Good behavior or good conduct is the shila, and the shila is the charana, and vijja is the vision. The vijja is the means of the vidya or knowledge, or the right view. So in Tibetan we say Rikpa-tang Shyapsu Demba. Rikpa means the awareness, The awareness refers to the right view, and the feet refers to the other 7 bhumis, other 7, noble eightfold path. When you divide the eightfold path, all 7 is counted as the charana, and the vijja is the right view. So all of the eightfold path, what is referring to that, endowed with the clear vision and virtuous conduct means vijja, the special insight, charana, together with all the right conduct, that gives the direction therefore gives the direction to his disciples and leads each of them to the state of immortality. So each of them who sentient beings who otherwise are crippled, who don't have legs, who are blind, who could not see, if they don't follow the eightfold path, they don't have leg to walk, nor have eye to see. Everyone is given the knowledge, the vision, and the leg. So when we talk about the perfection of vijja, does not mean that Buddha was omniscient about all things at all times. There was a time he wasn't, and he's the one who just completely broke the ceiling, so to speak. So he could know everything he wished by directing his mind towards it. As soon as he thinks about everything, becomes he knows everything. So there is nothing that he does not know, and that he could not have known if he wished to know. So there is basically visions. The vijja refers to that amazing vision. Whereas the knowledge of say the Pratyeka Buddha and Sravaka Arhats depends on the depth of their meditative concentration. They have to deliberately be in meditative concentration to survey the things. Buddha does not necessarily go into meditation to see the things, to do the instantaneously. As soon as he pays attention, no Arhat can ever match that full knowledge of the Buddha. So that's why when we talk about Eightfold Noble Path, that the right view is the vision they refer to, that vijja, which means knowledge, yeah? And the remaining seven, right thought all the way to right meditation, they are regarded as charana. Charana has a meaning of virtuous conduct. So the other seven are the leg-like, and in Tibetan it is very clearly written and translated as Rikpa-tang Shyapsu Dempa, means one who has knowledge as well as legs. So the 7-fold path are regarded as the leg, and the vision, which is the actual right view, is considered to be the first. So why? Because if you don't have the 7 legs, you don't have the one eye, basically. The 7 legs, which is the Shila and Samadhi, is that gives you to gain the result. So the first 7 are the cause, and the eighth one, which is the vision, is the result. So this is talking about how the awareness, vijja, refers to special insight, vipassana, but seeing the things as they are. And in order to see, you have to have a leg to walk on, So therefore, the leg actually makes you to traverse from where you could not see to the place where you could see. So therefore, the walking that the path of beginners who have not entered the path enters the path. One who has entered the path goes to the path of accumulation, and so on, and then reaches to the path of normal learning, So this is the leg we're talking about. The leg goes to the traverse to the stages of the path, and where one has achieved the 4 legs of miracles, and therefore one is able to see the nature of all phenomena phenomena as they are. So this is referred to the fully enlightened one. Is one who knows everything. When a certain ancient scriptures like the Pali Sutra, such as Sammanaphala Sutra, also mention specific things when it comes to Buddha's vijja. Buddha's vijja means Buddha's vision, his ability to remember countless past lives and to see the place of birth of other beings after their death. He could see the future lives of where we will be going. He could remember all his past lives. His knowledge of the inside is not just comes by small meditation, then you have insight. His knowledge goes to the past, ranging of remembering of the past and remembering of. It's not talking about how there's no self now type of thing, ultimate. But there is also relative past of many, many lifetimes. You remember all of them. So therefore, his knowledge and his supernatural power resulting from the concentration, such as multiplying his body, being able to walk through walls, mountains, fly, or walk on water. This divine eye and divine ear of the Buddha, which things far away and near can be seen or heard in the world simultaneously. So when he says he's the vision, he can see everything of your past 10 lifetimes before, or if necessary, 10 lifetimes from here. Buddha can see. So we're not talking about just emptiness of things, but he can survey all the past, remember his past, or future lives of each and every one of us, that particularities. Not just. So most important knowledge, therefore, is, of course, the knowledge of how to knowledge of afflictions and cravings and ignorance are destroyable. It could be uncaused. Whereas others are daunted by their kind of severity, as if this was some kind of external demon or something that the Buddha sees they're empty, they're in lack of inherent existence. Because of that, his knowledge is knowledge that destroy all the kleshas that keep people trapped in samsara, and destroying the klesha is equivalent to reaching nirvana, basically. And not only himself reaching nirvana, he enables in everyone crippled to get legs, everyone who's blind to find eyes to reach there. So when we say vijja charano, if you charano, behavior of the Buddha in general is perfect. There is not a single move or body language or words the Buddha said that will not benefit countless sentient beings. Whereas ordinary people might do something or say something that suit half a dozen people, but might upset just as that many. Because Buddha is perfectly enlightened one. His behavior is always in accordance with to the teachings of the Dharma, and it always subdues, ripens, mature other people, and thus the Buddha never have any conduct that is inappropriate. He was always moderate in how much he ate, how much he slept, and was always mindful of his energy. And his senses are always fully guarded at all times. There's never a time that Buddha might have lapse of his conscience. So that's why when we talk about the Vijjacharana means one who possess the vision of the right view, and who had the legs of the other sevenfold noble path. And then next one is the fourth epithet. That's a sugato. The word sugato, Sugato, su is the meaning of good or bliss, Gato has a meaning of gone, So meaning blissfully gone. So means literally can be translated he or she who has gone and reached the right destination. Yeah, others have gone, but they come back. Others gone, but halfway they realize they forgot something. Others started, but then they don't want to continue. And the Buddha never looks back. And he reaches the place in great bliss to bliss. So in the Tibetan, it says deva la tene, meaning by relying on a blissful path, how the very step you take is already bliss, and very result that you gain is also a result. Result is bliss. So therefore, sugato means blissfully gone. If you use the adverbial particle, blissfully gone, blissfully gone. If we are always going to somewhere, until we reach there, we are miserably going. If we reach there, well, maybe there is, after all of that, we got a result. No, Buddha is always blissfully on every stage is bliss. Because the path that Buddha walks on is like a vehicle. That vehicle is a carriage that takes you from this place to another place, very effectively. So therefore, the path of the Dharma, the Buddha teaches, is like a celestial palace. So you're sitting there, you are reaching there. The place you start from, place you get to, don't seem to have any difference because the destination seems to be the same as the journey itself. Yeah, journey itself. So that's a sugato has a meaning. Therefore, sugato can be translated as a sublime or blissfully gone. It's only name that can be used for the enlightened ones. Enlightened ones only are the sugatos. But sentient beings are durgatos, durgatis, meaning they are walking in misery. They are going back in misery, coming back in misery. They're starting miserably, and maybe peaking misery, and maybe end up with more misery and come back with more misery, because that's what durgati means. Durgata means always miserably going, miserably. How are we? We always check how are you means we know they are not going well. If you know they are going well, you don't have to ask how are you. All the Buddhas, you don't have to ask Buddha. Buddhas don't know what we're asking, because Buddha's always in that state. In the Visuddhimagga, Sugato has more meanings. The Buddha is Sugato because he has traveled the path in the right way from the beginning, and every step he has gone to a good place. He has traveled right irreversibly, and because he went correctly, the meaning is therefore twofold. First, Sugato is reference to the blissful nirvana, that has amazing bliss that will, whoever going to go to that, they will now make a journey that is good, that is going to get them to nirvana. And good destiny, the Buddha reached in the sense that it also refers to very beneficial effect to anyone who takes up the journey. Anyone who takes up the journey. Now, if many people were encouraged by any of us to take the journey that you and I took, we had a wonderful experience, but they may have completely mixed experience. They may have there's no such. No one who took the step, no one who has taken refuge in the Triple Gem, and who really have walked the path, they will never regret that they have walked the path of Dharma. Why? Because it is the effect, the very beneficial effect on the world that his awakening, which is Sugato, had brought through the teaching he gave to others to walk this path themselves. The path itself adequately good for you to reach, because it's correct path. Because it's correct path, it will not let you down. It's incontrovertible. We call if you take refuge in the Dharma shown by Buddha, it will never deceive you. But if you follow people, schools, traditions, some language, ethnicity, and status of people, these are not refuge objects. So that's why people have disappointment, because they're not going refuge in the correct path. But if you took refuge in the correct path, and people taught you about the qualities of the Triple Gem, and you are taking refuge in the triple gem, not in some people, or you're thinking that they got some power to guide you in the bardo or next life. They themselves are pretty questionable whether they can go through free from the bardo or not. How can people can guide anybody through bardo? Only triple gem by following that. That's why it is very important. Buddha only spoke. Also, the second is what Buddha spoke is about the path, is how he went, how he started the journey, how you too should start and continue. That is true, correct, and beneficial during his teaching. And you will never see any adverse findings in the teaching. That's what the Sugato is. Not only the one who did reach the Nibbana has blissfully gone, but anyone who's going to go on the path will also repeat the same experience of bliss. So this is very important. Why? That vehicle which carries is like a celestial palace. Whoever gets into that vehicle, they will be blissed. They will experience bliss. They will experience bliss and bliss to sit, or you can say unsit the suffering, the dukkha. It will replace all the dukkha with sukha. So that's what a sugato means. All the dukkha will be eliminated, all the bliss will be established. How? Each of them will be empowered to have the wisdom and well as method, because of these two powers, one is indomitable. Once you have refuge, you will not return. If you have not found refuge in the triple gem, there is danger, you will lose faith. If you have refuge in the Buddha, you will never return or lose your faith because you have taken refuge in the correct objects of refuge. Meaning here the Tibetan commentary says, one who's sugato, gato means the one who has gone will never return. And one who has gone will perfectly reach, And one who has gone will reach completely, There will be no kind of a halfway. So this level of going, Because one is completely eradicating. One will never be subject to fall in samsara. One will never come back into the samsara. One is completely irreversibly reached to the other side, and it's just like you are completely immune, from suffering, from samsara. That you are completely immune now. You're immune from coming back to samsara. And then the fifth epithet is lokavidu. Lokavidu, Jikten Kempa in Tibetan. Jikten Kempa means Jikten means loka. Jik means fear. Ten means support. Fear, support, existence means world. He knows the world, the knower of the world. Because the knower of the world is of two kinds. The inanimate, stable world and inanimate, unstable world. So we call mobile and mobile some immobile because the inanimate world is immobile and animate are mobile. We sometimes call environment inhabitants. All sentient beings in the world have many sufferings, many different levels, and Buddha knows exactly each and every one of our sufferings and what we did, where in what life, and he knows exactly if we were to listen to the Buddha, he will know. He will give exact remedy how to overcome the sufferings. There is no teaching that Buddha gives that will not suit the disciple to overcome their suffering, because Buddha knows the sufferings. Nothing obscures his wisdom from penetrating the seeing, and how appropriately which teaching is which teaching is appropriate to which sentient beings. The one who knows the world, he knows the suffering of the world. He knows the cause of the suffering of the world. And he knows what level of suffering are sentient beings going through. Through the night and through the day, Buddha is able to see clearly within, like everything in your palms of hand, he knows the plight of every sentient beings and their suffering. Because of that, the knower of the world, as we have here, by all worlds we mean that Buddha can see as if everything is in his hand, all the planets and everything in the world system. In other world system, the underworld system, extraterrestrial, subterranean, extraterrestrial world, all the three realms we can call it, three realms, Kamadhatu, which is a desire realm, as well as the Rupa Dhatu, which is a form realm, as well as Arupa Dhatu. He is able to see the plight of all sentient beings. Not only does he know all locations, but with his mind, through ear, through eyes, he could see all beings. He wanted to know. He can see and hear what he was directing his attention to. He's therefore the knower of all locations, all times, and all knowledges. So, therefore, when we refer to the knower of the world, the meaning is next to literal meaning. He also saw the world of the conditioned formations completely. Yeah. The arising of the conditioned formations and decaying of the conditioned formations. And there is not only that, he also knows how everyone can reach the nirvana. Yeah. So knower of the world, meaning the sentient, because Buddha knows plight of every sentient beings and their world and their particular suffering. Yeah. Knower of the world. His knowledge enables him to show the way. Why? Because because he knows the sufferings of the world, each and every sentient being suffering. He also knows the compassion and the wisdom and the power. Due to his stable wisdom and compassion power, he has a great dominion over the sentient beings. There is not a single sentient being whose suffering he cannot help, because he knows all of their suffering and the makeup of it. Sixth epithet is Anuttaro. So Anuttaro means is the incomparable one, you know. Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma. So it means Kyewunduwe kalojirwa lana mepa. So in Tibetan, Kyewunduwe means in the act of taming human beings and guiding them, he's perfect. He is perfect. So when we say incomparable leader of human who are to be tamed, yeah, Kyewundulwe means be human who are to be tamed, who are to be trained. He is incomparable in terms of succeeding to do that. You can look at how he tamed very, very wrathful, very, very angry and ferocious Angulimala, and very, very passionate half-brother Nanda, and then very, very vindictive King Ajatasattu, as well as a woman named Kisagotami. And you just name it, every single person, no matter who, whatever background they have, nobody was left untamed. There wasn't anyone who Buddha could not tame, and he said, I will have to try next life. So therefore, Buddha is unparalleled. You know, Anuttaro means there's nothing. Is peerless. You know, Buddha is peerless, unparalleled in Purisa Dhamma means to tame the human beings. To tame the human beings by giving the gift of Dharma. He has the best gift, Others have to bribe with other things. Buddha gives straight away Dharma. Like when he sent, Kisa Gotami to go and find the master seed, she didn't know that it was Dharma. She thought he was going to find some kind of a mysterious medicine to revive her son. He didn't know. She didn't know it was Dharma. So Buddha is incomparable in terms of skillful in giving the gift of Dharma, make her to realize the Dharma. To receive the gift of Dharma. And the Sarati means Purisa Dhamma Sarati means he's a guide. He's the lead. Every step, Kisa Gotami walked from house to house. He was with her. He was with her. He was guiding her. He knew exactly what she needed to do. He told her small things, just go and get a master from a family where death has not occurred. And she was guided to do that, and he was guiding her every step of the way. The Buddha could, like no other, fully attune his teaching to the listener. He was able to tailor the teaching exactly to the liking of likes of Kisa Gotami. Even among us, we would think we are completely not a sort of material for Dharma, because we are so distracted. We have so many delusions. But remember how much little changes you have made. This is because the Dharma, the Dharma that taught by the Buddha is so perfect. You could say, oh, he taught that to Kisa Gotami, but it's also doing the teaching to you. People like me, or other teachers, they can teach anything? No. We're just simply relaying the message that the Buddha taught to Kisa Gotami and Angulimala and so on. He had the greatest possible wisdom of people's tendencies, and their aptitude. And his teaching could adapt everyone specifically, and he will tame them. So that's why, he's tamed. He's like the driver. He's driving your well-being. He's driving you from misery to no misery, and no misery to bliss, bliss to more bliss, and bliss to finally blissful. And you would not have any misery towards others, enmity to others, because that is exactly, Buddha is the incomparable one who tames every sentient being who has a good merit to find refuge. It says sometimes he taught with a single gesture. Sometimes just a small remark, like ask the Kisa Gotami, going to get a sesame seed from a house, there's nobody died. He didn't give 2 volumes to read. Simple. Sometimes with a long safe speech. Sometimes with a whole series of teaching, long guidance. Some of the sutras, like he gave the Perfection Wisdom Sutras, The short one, Heart Sutra, is only 25 lines. Long one's 100,000, If someone had the paramis to understand the Dhamma, meaning to have the fitness to understand that, Buddha could teach them. He will teach them exactly what it is. Where ordinary people would soon give up. But Buddha, with his infinite loving kindness, didn't tell her, Kisa Gotami, come on, I have never revived anybody. Please don't bring this on me. Go somewhere else. This is not my business. He could have said, no, he with amazing loving kindness, he could see how much this suffering is real for her. And he did not say, nobody have died before, nobody have lost child like you have. He didn't say that. Yes, my dear. Yes, we will revive your son. You go and get some master seed, and we will revive you. Incredible assurance, incredible kindness and support. That's exactly he is guiding and taming through loving kindness metta, karuna, mudita, upekha. She used all this. He was delightful. She came very sad. As soon as she met the Buddha, his joyfulness, his delightfulness gave this amazing joy in the eyes of Kisa Gotami. She just could see this person is so delightfully positive. Her sadness just dropped. She left the body of the child and went straight away in search of the medicine. He just so completely changed her mind that was otherwise so, because everybody else could not console her. Kisa Gotami was devastated. But the moment she met the Buddha, he completely made her to find joy and equanimity, to knock door after door, asking them the kind of questions asking that, So she was basically given all four immeasurables instantly after she met the Buddha. Yeah? And she was already every step she took, she was developing loving kindness. True loving kindness for herself as well as a child. And as far as every family she met become object of loving kindness. Every family who told their death of child's mother become object of compassion. And that much more she become more equanimity towards her dead child. Joyful that she was walking each home after home, that she was realizing the teaching. So he was basically able to have such a power to tame the mentality of individuals that made her, within a couple of hours of her journey, she come back completely changed, tamed already. So skillful. Nobody could have taught that. So that's why it's called Anuttaro Purisa Dhammo. So jikten kiwunduwe kalogyuba lana meba in Tibetan, yeah. When we say that, the person who drive, drive is the one. The driver is the horse cart driver. Those days they have horse cart driver or bullock cart driver, or maybe oarsmen. And you rely on the horse cart driver and bullock cart driver, or the oarsmen to sail the boat. Likewise, Buddha was the driver of every miserable sentient being who was all suffering and who was stranded in this pool of their suffering, like Kisa Gotami. Buddha was able to take her in the boat, use his oars, and take her out of the stranded place and go somewhere where there is no problem. So this is what mean, because some sentient beings are so difficult to tame, unruly. Like Nanda was very difficult to tame. He was so attached. Everybody was practicing diligence and discipline to the goal of enlightenment. He was practicing completely for the purpose of, he couldn't let his mind off his fiancée, for instance. Likewise, Angulimala, so ferocious, so violent. Likewise, the Kashyapas, Nadia Kashyapa, there are 3 Kashyapas, as well as the Chula Pantaka. Chula Pantaka is the small Pantaka. All of these stories are there. All of them are very difficult to tame by anybody. If it wasn't the Buddha, even the most successful merchants like Anathapindika, he would be very shrewd businessman. That's how he made his money. But once he met the Buddha, he just completely emptied his treasury. Without Buddha asking him to do that. Completely made him to be generous and became the benefactor of the Dharma, that we would not have the Dharma unless Buddha's skillfulness to tame Anathapindika did that, And these are true stories. These are true stories. So then it goes to say that Latang Minam Yitomba, teacher of gods and humans, yeah, teacher of gods and humans. So it's not just teacher of few people, teacher of the Yeah, Sattha Deva Manusanam. Yeah, Sattha Deva Manusanam. So both man and gods and human beings, and whoever met the Buddha, there was no exception. He was the leader. He was leader, a teacher of gods and human beings. Where ordinary people are, or teachers, or kings, or very 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 wealthy people, or very very sad. Whoever may come into contact with the Buddha, they receive the instructions just appropriate. And when they may go to somebody else, that they may get a completely different kind of instruction. But Buddha will give one that is completely true. And he teaches the very thing they need to learn. Teacher of gods and human beings. So he's not teaching things to others who are not meant to be teaching that subject. So he is the true teacher for everyone, creatures from all worlds, including kingdoms of heaven, those in the desire realm, the form realm, formless realm, all of them came to him for instruction. Shakra was fighting war with the demigods and others who were really, really having a lot of trouble. And Buddha, then he even came from heaven down to asking the Buddha to teach him what to do. Very famous king of Anga, the ancient Bengal, also was having a lot of wars. He doesn't know what to do. Came to the Buddha how to defeat the enemy. But Buddha taught them to reconcile, not to fight, but they should cease the fighting each other, and build the stupa of reconciliation. That's why the Rajguru become actually more famous for that, because everybody came there to make peace, and Buddha made everybody to drop violence and take up peace, and they made a very big agreement, and then in Rajguru they built the stupa of reconciliation. Every 8 places have one stupa named after the Buddha, and that's called stupa of reconciliation. Yendum bechoten, yendum. It means all the fightings were all reconciled, because. Apart from honorable people, ascetics, being from high heavenly beings, however, among his listeners were known as assassins, Angulimala, Alaka, Alwaka, and Nalagiri, hundreds of robbers, cannibals, and so on. All of them were tamed by the Buddha. Buddha could lead all these creatures to the safe harbor of nirvana. Therefore, that makes the Buddha the unsurpassed teacher of both humans and devas. So even after 2,600 years after, like here in 21st century, we are flying jets. We're traveling from one end of the world to another, 8,000 kilometers within a couple of hours. We could do all kinds. We could play with elements. We can use all kinds of machineries. But everyone, when they hear the Dharma, Four Noble Truths, they all see how liberating it is. They can truly discover the preciousness of Dharma, because this Dharma is even more precious, because if there is no Buddha, Dharma does not exist. It's not a question of rarity. It does not exist. The fact that we have Dharma today is because Buddha attained enlightenment and has these qualities. So therefore we must not be so biased to schools, traditions. We should rejoice every other Dharma people who follow different kind of schools, traditions. We should realize that every time you see somebody chanting in Pali or Korean or Chinese or Tibetan, we should all rejoice. Look at this. They are all tamed by the Buddha. We are all different language and different things, that we are all follow the same Buddha. So how can we possibly afford to be sectarian? if those people who have not found refuge in the Triple Gem, they will, because they're following cultural Buddhism. They're following just materialistic Buddhism. Spiritual materialism, indeed it is. So the purpose of really this series of talks is that we need to not only know the qualities of the three jewels, but we should be the possessor, enjoyer, and the relisher of these things, to the extent of changing us, to the extent of healing us, not to be sectarian, not to be biased towards our school or biased against others, and saying that we are Mahayana, we are great, and saying others say Theravada, say, oh, Mahayana, I don't think they are taught by the Buddha, almost making us a judgment. The Buddha didn't teach things to people of different levels of aptitude. What the hell is that view coming from? Buddha is the omniscient one. He knows exactly how to tailor teaching for different levels of intelligence. So therefore, if we get to know the qualities of the Triple Gem, particularly like qualities of Buddha, tonight we're just talking of qualities of 9 epithets of Buddha. We're going to go over more specific qualities of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind. This is just overall qualities of the Buddha, the 9 epithets. Teach of gods and human beings. Yeah, and then the 9th one is Buddha. Yeah, Samma Sambuddho. Yeah, Samma Sambuddho is the perfectly enlightened one. Perfectly enlightened one. In the Tibetans talk about the one who is perfect in the sense perfect for oneself and perfect for others. Not only did Buddha reach perfect enlightenment, but ever since people have got to know the Buddha, everyone is more step by step becoming more perfect than before. And so what is the perfect that the Buddha is making perfection to you? You're learning to know what you need to drop. You're learning to know what you need to pick up. So you know how to drop the faults, afflictions, karma, wrong views more than before. You're realizing to replace them with loving kindness, compassion, joy, and right view, and so on. So with regard to what to abandon, with regard to what to adopt, you are becoming much more, perfected by virtue of knowing the Buddha. Therefore, knowing the Buddha is incredible medicine. They say knowledge is powerful. Yeah, knowledge how to make banana cake, you can make banana cake. Yeah, that's good. So otherwise you had this banana going off and overripe, you don't know what to do. You can't eat because it's too wet or whatever. But if you have the recipe, you can make banana cake. Likewise, when you know the Buddha, you have the power of the Buddha, and therefore you have the power to not to blame and name others. You have the power to drop your own arrogance, drop your own jealousy or laziness and greed and pride, and you have, because you know the Buddha. Because you know the Buddha, it enlightens you as to what to drop and what to adopt, like no other. If you knew how to make banana cake, but you need the banana and all the rest. But if you know the Buddha, you know your mind. You know your thoughts. You know what your thoughts. You can detect your thoughts. You can read your thoughts, saying this is thought I can do without. When you know the Buddha. If you remember the Buddha, you should reflect the Buddha. And then say, this Buddha, by knowing the Buddha, I'm told it will enable us to empower us to drop the bad. Am I not making this ill will too much? And then you straight away, instantly, you don't need banana to make banana cake. You instantly, you just need to know the Buddha. As long as you know the Buddha, you are empowered to drop your bad thoughts, your affliction. Those who don't know the Buddha are pointing finger at others. That's the difference. Incredible changes, because straight away you have the power to know what to adopt, thought-wise, behavior-wise, and you have power to pick up loving kindness, compassion, and so on. And because it is Buddha. This is we're talking about Buddha, the enlightened one. Every person wakes up. The person who knows the Buddha wakes up from the slumber of ignorance, stupidity, selfishness. He wakes up from the sleep. And therefore he's empowered he's made perfect to wake up. And he's able to also overcome his aggregate afflictions. He also learns I'm not aggregate. Afflictions are impermanent. And then you do not get intimidated by affliction. You know that even afflictions are impermanent. Your aggregate is not self. And then you're starting to also distance the Mara of aggregates, Mara of afflictions. You're able to slowly make yourself, when the word, because this comes from the word Bhagavan Buddha. Bhagavan means one who has destroyed. You can destroy your problems by yourself, by knowing the Buddha. And then you can possess the qualities, 6 perfection qualities you can possess. 4 Maras you can defeat. As a result of that, you become conquest. You have the conquest of the 4 Maras. You become rich with the 6 qualities of generosity and so on. And because of that, the etymology of the Bhagavan in Tibetan, Jom Den, there. Jom means one who destroys, vanquish the 4 Mara. Den means possess. So you possess, because word Buddha specifically refers to one who's awakened one. Sangye in Tibetan. So because you have discovered the truth. The truth is that your aggregate is not you. You are doing affliction, don't do this. But those who do not know the Buddha, they're doing exact opposite direction. So remember Buddha. If you remember, they say remember Buddha and remember these 9 epithets and meditate. All the sadhanas we do, deity yoga sadhanas, this is our lineage deity. What the hell are you talking about? You're just attached to a little figure as mine. You remember that deity represents the wisdom of the Buddha. It's the figure that you have is a visual reminder of the qualities of the 9 epithets of Buddha. Otherwise, why are you so attached to a deity? All these deity-centric practitioners who have forgot anything or never heard the actual teachings of the Buddha that you should be empowered. The knowing Buddha is powerful because you know what to vanquish as far as your faults are concerned, what to accomplish as the qualities are concerned. Buddha has fathomed the 4 noble truths, has completed the Eightfold Path. And where Samma Sambuddha emphasized the right way and full independent aspect of awakening. Buddha emphasized awakening itself, the Buddha's ability to teach others the path for their awakening. Yeah? So the path, the one who knows the Buddha gets the culture of the Buddha. Culture. Basically, you get the recipe. You have the recipe to become awakened when you know the Buddha. That's why knowing Buddha enables you to become enlightened. Samma Sambuddha. So the last one is blessed Bhagavad. So the Bhagavad we were referring to mostly Buddha Bhagavan or blessed one is the term that expresses the one who we have deep respect and tribute to him, the highest of all beings, distinguishing him from all beings by his special qualities of highest possible dominion over his mind and body in deepest and most subtle understanding of Dharma, the truth. And that's why the fully enlightened one is very difficult to know. Those people who do not have merit, they do not meet the Buddha. They don't know the Buddha. Once you know the Buddha, and then you become so much wealthier, if you like, with the knowledge of the qualities of the Buddha. That's why the whole idea of knowing the Buddha, like these 9 epithets when you chant, almost you can just, some people just recite the Buddha, the word, think of the one of the epithets, then they say, mentally say Buddha. And then they stay there meditating while chanting the word Buddha. Because the Buddha is the one, Buddha is the one who is enlightened one. Yeah, it's the enlightened one who has these qualities. And when your mind is thinking like that, your mind becomes completely put to rest in a state of peace without doing any afflictions, because the knowing the Buddha enables you to choose your thoughts and choose your emotions, and you are actually walking the path of the Sugata. You're walking the path. Your mind is constantly meditating on the qualities of Buddha. So even you meditating on the deities, 4-armed, 6-armed, 2-armed, they have to, no matter you say, Avalokiteshvara for this, Amitai for long life. If you are meditating for long life alone, it's miserable cause, miserable reason to meditate on long life. Meditating on Zambala just for some trying to increase your wealth, miserable. Don't ever do that. But if Zambala increases your wealth materially, on top of your awareness of the Buddha, the 9 qualities of Buddha, then yes, some mundane kind of this conventional reason to promote the wealth deities, increase wealth is complementary, because then the wealth is not just material wealth, wealth of knowing the Buddha. The more you have a deity yoga practice, more you should have the wisdom yoga of knowing these 9 qualities of Buddha. Otherwise, you're doing various deities for mundane, samsaric purposes to live a couple of years or longer. For what? To suffer long? So that your attachment can increase longer? What are you talking about? So what's the point of long life? So therefore, we got to really be careful when we practice deity yoga. You shouldn't think that deity yoga is some Vajrayanas, extraordinary kind of blessings, so that you have long life, wealth, and fertility, or fulfilling your wishes, your business going very well because you're praying to Tara. All these things are spiritual materialism. All these things could be spiritual causes to boost your faith in the Buddha. That even you have some better material possessions because of than whatever you are, maybe through Tara or whatever, but you do not use them to increase your attachment to the deities as your wealth provider deities. You should still realize that ultimately it's a knowing of the Buddha, knowing about the Buddha, that these various deities are actually like an ambassador of the Buddha. They are ambassador of the Buddha to make you to know the true Buddha. Then your meditation and the sadhana that you do really faithfully becomes a real refuge. Otherwise, you just say, this teacher gave me this empowerment. I have to do this sadhana. I have to do this meditation. It's good for my wealth, good for my health, good to remove my obstacles. People become so attached to specific deities and their colors and their traditions, and so on and so forth. But remember, there is no real refuge in the yidams. There's no separate refuge in the yidams or dakinis or even gurus. If you don't have refuge in the three gems. If you have refuge in the 3 gems, then you honor the gurus, yidams, dakinis. This is called sasum tiltrup, meaning combination of all of them in the near kind of a connection. We have sangha, we have yidam, and we have gurus. Gurus are like the everyday connection to the living teachers. But they are real sanghas. If you remember the quality of sangha, if you sort of see the yidam and the dakinis and the gurus as a separate, then the actual triple gem, I don't know why you need them. Even those three, Yidam and Guru and Dakinis, is so that you actually know the triple gem. If you don't know the triple gem, then you'll be further away from finding refuge. You're seeking mundane, worldly gods and praying to them to fulfill your mundane needs. I mean, you may do that just because that is if your own interest. But true refuge is how much your affliction, how much your action, how much is your wrong views are being cause a dent by your refuge, by your virtue of knowing the Buddha. So meditating on one deity, or two deity, or three deity, they're all meditation on the Buddha. There's no real Buddha other than the fully enlightened one. Even the deity who you have the visit in the middle of meditation or dream, if you don't see that as to boost your faith in the Buddha, what's that seeing of the deity is all about? You know, you have a danger of getting attached to having a vision of the deity. What's the point of deity talking to you, statue talking to you, if it does not boost, increase your faith in the Buddha and its qualities? If it doesn't awaken you from those afflictions, if it doesn't empower you to conquer your four demons, four maras, and accomplish those qualities, what kind of blessings or boons or siddhis you're seeking to gain from? That's why it is important that we in the 21st century must all reclaim reinterpret your understanding of what the three gems are and their qualities are, and therefore deepen not only your faith in the practice, whatever you're doing, but that deity yoga you do is none other than the wisdom of the Buddha that is deified in that form of the deity and the sadhana. Otherwise, you will think this is something extraordinary, special, found in somebody's dream, discovered from some rocks. This kind of trying to mystifying Buddhism do little service. We need to go back to Buddha Anusmriti, meaning remembering the Buddha. Even deity yoga is Buddha Anusmriti. Even mantra recitation is Dharma Anusmriti. Okay? Even your friendship with the Sangha and the Guru is Sangha Anusmriti. Beside that, if you become segregated from others, saying, oh, we are different school, we are different lineages, that is not holistic understanding of one who has refuge in the Triple Gem. You just have the certain allegiance to some small groups of Dharma groups and their teachers or their lineages or their schools, but you don't know anything about the Buddha, let alone Dharma, let alone Sangha, let alone refuge in these three. You're just all about that group or that thing. So this is very important, but knowing the qualities of the three gems and therefore boost your qualities of revering the deity as embodiment of the Buddha in the form of Tara or in form of whatever the deity practice you do, to some degree the Theravadins don't have any deities. Why? Because they have the Buddha. They always say Namo Tassa Bhagavato. They always do that. They don't have different mantras or different sadhanas groups. Every time, whenever they start Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, and then they will recite the Itipiso. The Itipiso is the 9 epithets of Buddha and the Dharma and Sangha and so on. They always reflect just on the qualities of the Triple Gem. And this is why it is in many ways we too need to go back to the main sources and don't try to sort of create an extraordinary level of Buddhism that you think you practice that's so secret, that is so whispered, that is so, and Of course they have. I'm not saying the Vajrayana lineage is wrong or anything like that, but it's important that we do not get so much sort of separated and segregated by these different schools and different deities, colorful hats and languages and ethnicity, and because there's a Sanskrit Buddhism, Pali Buddhism. What the hell are you talking about? There's only one Buddhism. That is the Shakyamuni Buddha who taught the Tripitakas. And whether you interpret them this way or that way, deep down we have to come to the refuge. The refuge is that distinguish whether you have refuge in the Triple Gem, whether you're Buddhist or not. You cannot be born biologically in a Buddhist. You still have to have refuge. This kind of mental constitution is necessary to truly rejoice the refuge in the Triple Gem. So that's why I like to focus like this in every evening for remaining next session on Dharma and the Sangha and their qualities, and how we should all remember that as a fundamental to rejoice the fellow Buddhist, fellow schools, fellow traditions, and not become so egocentrically thinking our school is the only one, others we don't want to know, and not being able to respect them, thinking they are the wrong, they don't really know what we doing, and they don't know that they don't have the right text, they are following some different teaching. This kind of prejudices is you cannot do. If you know the qualities of Dharma, Buddha has taught so many teachings to people different levels of intelligence. So that's why we should rejoice any other schools and traditions who practice that. It's even in the Buddhist teaching, you cannot even criticize non-Buddhist religious tradition. One should not criticize any other religious, let alone fellow Buddhist traditions and schools, because they all have refuge in the same Triple Gem. And never mind the minor interpretation. They talk about the refuge object is Buddha, the Dharma, Sangha. They say, refuge object is sort of some other things. There are minor differences there, but main thing we should all remember that the qualities of the three jewels is universal. All of us have been blessed by the same three jewels. It is the same three jewels that is keeping us on the path. And every single step that you are walking towards the Buddha or the practice that you have been taught through your upbringing, you should not only practice that, but rejoice all others. Then your refuge has really overcome your afflictions. Otherwise, you think, Buddhism is good, others are not good. That's affliction. You don't do affliction. You should have the ability to know afflictions to overcome. Affliction of judgment, prejudices, bias shows that you have no refuge. You're going for a kind of pseudo refuge. Just chant the refuge prayers in your sadhanas, but actually have no refuge in the Triple Gem. You refuge in your lineages, your gurus, and that's not refuge object. They just not refuge object. They are something important, part of the thing, but no, actual refuge is the Triple Gem: Buddha Gem, Dharma Gem, and Sangha Gem. The quality of them, once you know, are inconceivable. Inconceivable not only numerically, inconceivable benefit for you. It completely opens your eyes and removes your prejudices and removes your wrong views, and just gives you the joy of rejoicing fellow Buddhists, fellow practitioners who are chanting in Marathi, who are chanting in Karnataka, who are chanting in Sinhalese, who are chanting or who are doing their Buddhist thing, whatever they're doing. You will have this incredible joy. You will not see us versus them, because you know the infinite qualities of the Triple Gem is so overwhelmingly makes you feel, like we were talking last week, makes you feel beautiful because you have refuge. Even your life is beautifully ornamented because you have refuge. You become rich even though you were poor, so to speak. And so you feel that you have the power. You have immaculate. But you don't feel immaculate a lot of time. Why? Because you're drifting away from the refuge. You're drifting away through some attachment to our school, aversion to other school. That is, you don't even have the refuge, let alone in any other practice. So refuge is not only fundamental, but it is the peak. It is the pinnacle of the refuge teachings. So with this, we will conclude here, everyone. Thank you very much. And we will do the dedication merits. And always rejoice and meditate on the qualities of Triple Gem, won't you? Om Bade Mehere Mevaga Dadeva Metzaga Hom Neza Meale Beredo Be from the Oceano Pada Desenede Hereda Mahayana Dije Whatever merit I have me hobe begas den levels to hoda Mahayana dije courage manju jenewode azama da badra jelawa follow it over the exam ajade de de mere Mede excellent body jida tebe where no yadans where has been bometing freely without generation. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.